Let me come to you, Youssef Amrani. I want you to take two related issues. I want you to take the issue of inequalities as part of the source of our problem of conflict, terrorism, and all that, and the issue of religion.
Yes.
As religion has a role to play?
Yes.
And if it does, what sort of role? And how does it come about? And how can we deal with it?
Well, thank you very much. And I think you have raised a very important question, and I will try to answer it in this very limited time. Let me first say thank you, MSC, thank you, Wolfgang, for this panel on Africa. Because Africa today should be your priority. Africa, yes, there are challenges, but Africa also is opportunity for the future. I completely share the views expressed by Mr. Kofi Annan about the situation in Africa, so I'm not going to repeat the same ideas. I will insist and I will respond to your question. First, I think three prerequisites are essential, and they have been tackled by my colleagues. The first one, the political, the reforms. The second one is the economic. And the third one, in your question, is how to deal with terrorism on the basis of deconstruction of the jihadist narrative. And I think it's a priority. The three dimensions are linked. First, and has been said by my colleague, Foreign Minister of Ethiopia, we need to strengthen the national democratic processes, namely by introducing political reforms. We should not have any complex or any taboo issue as far as human rights or political development. This is essential. Of course, we need to do our own homework at the level of Africa. Of course, we need to seek solidarity, cooperation with others, but we need to do our own homework. We need to implement democracy, and we need to have strong states. Because what is the problem today in Africa? Is that some fragile states have created some vacuum that have been exploited by the extremists. What President Somalia was saying about Al-Shabaab, we should not forget that we have the same challenges in the Sahel, in Libya, in sub-Saharan Africa. And these movements are growing, and we need to face this challenge. Two, I think this is the first dimension, is the politics, the respect of rule of law, and this is the way how we could defeat the extremist jihadists. Secondly, I think it has been tackled. I will be brief. We need the transformations of our economies. Kofi was talking about good governance, transparency, good decisions on these issues in Africa. And this, I think, the socio-economic remains at the core, at the heart of our African strategies. It's the only way how to defeat the extremists, only way how to fight against illegal migration, to stabilize population, is to create and to respond to the expectations of the young generation in Africa. Because their future, what is what they want? What are the ambitions? The ambitions are jobs and job creation. And I think we should, and I believe personally that Africa has a future, because we are the only countries who are today growing by 2 digits. And we have a lot of opportunities to go. So structural transformations, private sector, and one issue that has not been handled here, I think it's essential, is the regional integration in Africa. The commissioner was talking about some actions that have been undertaken by regional integration, like ECOWAS. It was very essential in the solution of the Malian conflict, but also as far as to create wealth and possibilities of growth in our region. As far as the Maghreb is concerned, unfortunately, we're not growing because we were not able to transform our 5 countries' economies together. When we do it, we'll be able to gain momentum. And so in this context, I think we should, like His Majesty said in Abidjan, that we should take our future in hands and work together because we can succeed. And now, I will come to your third point, which I think is essential. We need to fight the extremists by using the same policy. Today, what is the work of Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Internet, radicalization, and they have, as you have said, Kofi, they have, I will say it in different words, they have hijacked Islam in order to promote the culture of hate and exclusion. Islam has nothing to do with this kind of philosophy, ideology. That's why we should fight them in their territory, through the media, through really working on a counter-narrative, on a good messaging. And that's why what I'm going to talk about Morocco, we are doing as far as training of imams in Africa, the real values of Islam, trying to deconstruct the jihadist philosophy of this, all this concept of jihad, or this concept of gender equality. Like this issue of gender equality is essential. And you know why? It's very simple. Because these who interpret Islam were men. And the interpretation of this inequality was interpretation of old school. So that's why we need to deconstruct and to promote the real values of Islam. This is what we're doing. Through what? We have to be courageous. To the revision of the school books and education. Education is essential here because we have to show that, I see the green light, that Islam is compatible with human rights, that Islam is compatible with democracy. And finally, somebody said, climate change. I will finish by this. Climate change is essential. That's why Morocco is going to host COP22. We know it is a big challenge, but we're doing it on behalf of Africa because we think that we have a breakthrough here for our African brotherly countries.
Jemari,